Okay.
Okay.
Batman. That's the first thing I thought when I saw you.
Batman.
Hmm.
Nice. Well, thanks for this little song.
Yeah, man. Well, where do you want to start? I got a lot.
Well, you got a lot good. Give it to me. What do you got?
Okay. What an awesome couple of days of riding at Snowshoe. It's my favorite place. It's my favorite
Yes.
place. Lap after lap. That's where you and I met.
Oh,
Um,
that's right.
and I remember that race. I rode so much I couldn't even close my hands. All right, we'd ridden for days and days before the race, and when I got to the race, I couldn't close my hands. I'd ridden so much, um, and that wasn't the issue this time. But man, did we ride a lot? We rode a lot.
Yeah, that was a cool week. I remember that. That was great. We should have done that this time too.
Yeah. Well, what was your highlight? We'll come back to the race real quick, but just real quick, like what was your highlight in terms of just riding?
Uh, ah, good question. I mean, just terms of, I don't know, it was an epic weekend. All these races are always epic. They seem kind of hard and stressful, but when you're done, you're so stoked you went and rode and learned. So I don't know if I have a highlight because it was a challenging course. I kind of felt like I didn't really get to know it like I wanted to.
Yeah, do you think that's because like we did a lot more than just the race course? Like we were riding all over the place, doing a lot of different trails and like kind of like, the a lot of times the race is like the focus and we only do that trail over and over and over. But because we were like riding lots of stuff, you feel like that might have been the case?
I don't. I
Okay.
don't think that was the case. For some reason, I just had a hard time memorizing that course.
Yeah.
I guess it's the third race, so hopefully more races I'll be able to like learn the course quicker. And I think there's two things. I think there's learning the course. So
Mhm.
you're like, okay, I know it's around this corner. I know it's around this corner. And for me, it's more like I get there and then I kind of remember it. But
Mhm.
exiting and entering are hard because I don't know. And then I think the next step is now if you learn what the course is top to bottom, then the next step I think is like, all right, do I compress here, jump over these roots, you know, go fast in this section, push hard here, then like maybe call it the flow of the trail or something.
Mhm.
But I felt like I didn't even really know the course yet, and I definitely did not figure out like the flow of it. So it was a tough course, but I loved it. It was great.
Yeah, I don't think I actually had any lines.
All right. Oh, plus the rain.
Yeah. Like
That kind
yeah, like I mean, I think maybe my perspective of what you're saying is like maybe I didn't get to know the course or maybe there was just it's not that there weren't multiple lines, but there just seems like there was kind of like one general main line a lot of times and then but there was still lots of room. Maybe there were other lines,
of.
but there
Mhm.
wasn't a lot of time to necessarily explore other things. So I don't know.
Do you feel like we rode too much beside and not concentrating on the race enough, or
Well, maybe the reverse of me saying that is maybe I wish I hadn't wasted so much time on the race and I would just rode more.
it could be the reverse? But I mean, how about Steven? He rode like 50 billion laps,
Yeah.
I think, the day of his race,
Yeah.
before the race.
Yeah, he was doing no-handers
Yeah.
and all kinds of stuff and like I
Yeah.
yeah.
but he can handle that riding. He does that a lot.
Yeah, I think the wild card for me and probably for Steven was just the rain and just going from dry fast, lots of riding, lots of fun to just like,
Yeah,
cold, wet,
yeah.
slippy. I do have so I do have one, like, I think specific thing about, I don't know if I learned something or this is just kind of an observation, which is, the whole mud tires are not mud tires. And so, you know, first of all, I think the Cannibal is a great tire. And I was
Mhm,
really hesitant about switching from, my standard setup of Assegai DHR2. It's
mhm.
just what I'd run for a while, but I went to the Cannibals, and I gotta say, like, that tire can kind of do it all, in my opinion. And I've been really more and more impressed in the different conditions that I've ridden that tire. So I'll start with that by saying I think the Cannibal is starting to become like one of my favorite tires that I've ever ridden. And then second of all, you know, I know Steven said, like, I set up mud tires for him. And for some reason I didn't bring my other mud tires. And so I ended up
Right.
setting up a set of mud wheels for him. And, he did his practice without the mud tires, and then he did the mud tires on his race run. Now, I asked him, he said absolutely not. He needed the mud tires. He wouldn't have had the traction that he had, but he did have a slide out on a route, and I
Yeah,
didn't change to the mud tires because
yeah,
I had him bring his bike back to the pit, and I was going to put his mud tires on, but I was scared after I was talking over stuff with Jerry about, how it was going to react on the routes. I didn't feel like I had problem with traction even with the Cannibals. Now, did I slide down the hill in that one spot? Yes. I don't know if
yeah.
mud tires would have really changed that at all, but I just
Right.
I didn't want to make that change. I was really worried, and maybe it was a little bit of seeing, even though he says that didn't impact it, but I felt like I had done 3 practice laps that morning in the wet. I was cautious, but I didn't ever feel like I didn't have, like, grip, like I wasn't
Hmm.
fighting for more grip. So, I mean, what's your opinion on the whole mud tires? You wish you had
Well,
them?
have you've tried them before, right? Mud tires.
I've run a rear mud tire before. I ran
Okay.
a rear mud tire at TTC last year and at
Uh,
Tennessee Nationals last year, but I only ran it for rear braking traction.
okay. And did you notice the difference?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh wow. I see. I've never used mud tires, so I can't really compare. But like Jerry's like, man, I got the hydros, and he said those worked excellent and totally was grippy. And I'm like, I don't know. I just don't see it. I think they would help a little,
Hmm.
right? But I have a hard time believing that they would help a lot. And then there's the whole thing about, okay, mud tires are great in the mud, but
Hmm.
half this course is rocks and roots. So
Hmm.
do you want to hook up in the muddy parts, or do you want to hook up in the rock and roots parts? So it seemed like it was kind of, you're getting some, but you're giving up some with the mud tires.
Yeah. Well, I think in the end, I chose to not put the mud tires on because I didn't want to change what I didn't know. Like,
Right.
I just and I am committed to I did do some mud riding. I went to Windrock before going to Snowshoe, and I worked on riding in the mud. And I will say, had I not done that, I probably would not have even made it down the course. I actually really worked the 2 days before I went to Snowshoe on going through some chutes and not using the front brake and
Oh,
really focusing. And so I'm very
yeah.
thankful that I got a chance to do that. But I wasn't using mud tires, but I definitely need to get out in the mud with mud tires and see how they react, how they feel.
Yeah. Yeah. We we definitely do. The problem is it's such a hassle. Like you either got to fork out the dough and grab a new set of rims with rotors and cassettes and all that and have it ready to roll, or you got to change them, and that's the whole mission.
Yeah, I think we're so we have one set of extra wheels right now between Steven and I. So
And you have mud tires on that, right?
yeah, so I think we're gonna just share those for the rest of the season. And
Huh?
I do think that's a big mental part. It's like, okay, am I gonna take all this cush
Yeah,
and do
totally.
all this stuff?
Yeah.
It's like, maybe not.
Yeah. I'll just ride it. I'll
Yeah.
stick back rocks and roots. Yeah.
But maybe if we knew that they were, I mean, really gonna work, maybe we would feel differently about it. So,
Yeah. I wonder, man, do you think there's a trick to riding in the rain? Like a different
oh yeah.
something you have to, but what is it?
Well, I mean, from the coaching that I got literally a few days beforehand, it
Oh,
was a lot about not losing speed, um
right.
not losing my momentum, not getting timid and don't use the front brake. It was a lot of like, coming in, especially into steeper areas, trusting the grip, not losing my momentum, not hitting the front brake, a little bit of,
Yeah.
of rear if I needed to check something up. And I overdid that on the course, and I made that decision like, my knee was swollen up. I didn't make a big deal
Yeah.
out of it and say a whole lot about it, but I was absolutely committed to not going down in that race. And so I
Right.
I just,
Mud tires, no mud tires.
yeah, well, like I said, I didn't feel like I didn't have grip. I just wasn't gonna go. I wasn't only gonna go as fast as I needed to keep my momentum. I feathered the back, but yeah, I
Right.
think there absolutely is, skills for the mud. And
Yeah.
I've not really been too concerned about the mud. Now, roots, that's different.
Right. Right. So you didn't go down at all that whole race?
No, I probably did. I probably went down a couple times, but I did.
Right.
But it was very. When I say I went down, I just mean
Yeah.
like, I put my foot down here and
Yeah.
there on
Yeah.
this.
That's what I did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
on the slippy hill. I was trying to get up the hill. I just mean I didn't like uncontrolled like,
Right. The
crash.
slippy hill.
Yeah.
Yeah. The slippy hill got everybody except for one person. I just saw a video where one person got through. He lives there. I forgot his name. He was pro. And he made it through both feet on through the slippery hill.
If you could do it again today, like let's say you could put on like a padded hockey goalie uniform where you knew there was no way you could get hurt on that hill, how
Yeah.
would you approach it? Like, do you think you could make it if like, what would you do to make it through that hill?
Yeah. I don't know. I was watching the video of him making it through, and everyone else was like us, 1 foot out, like a scooter,
Mhm.
scooter on there. And he made it. It just seemed like he just had the right balance. He was just leaning the right way. His bike was leaning the right way. His like knees were, he just had, I don't know, maybe he had mud tires. Maybe we should have went with the mud tires.
Wait, so you're saying that people like actually did it? Like they
One,
actually
I
like,
only saw one pro do it, get through
what
there.
about Jerry? Did Jerry say he made it clean? I think
Jerry probably made it through clean.
I think he did. He probably
Yeah,
bunny hopped the whole hill or something.
right. I think he had mud tires too. Did he?
Oh yeah, I think Jerry had two different types of mud tires out. Like I think he was like going between whether he should have this mud tire, didn't he? Like he had
Right.
two different types of mud tires.
Maybe he did.
I thought he
I
said something like I have spikes maybe I got this all
Uh,
wrong. I thought he said like I've got these bigger
yeah.
tires and then I have these smaller mud tires. Maybe not, but
No, I think you're right. I think I heard something like that. Man, but whatever he did, we should figure it out because man, he had a smoking fast time.
yeah, that was kind of crazy. That's
Holy guacamole. Yeah. But hey, I wanted to talk about the roots because that was like the biggest stickler for me. That would just grab my front tire and whoosh,
yeah.
wash it. And it was just so unpredictable. I was never quite sure when it was going to do it.
Yeah, I changed my line in the race run. I'd gone down the middle time and time, I don't think I
Yeah.
ever did go down the middle, and I I chose to just go the far left. Like I
Right.
was so scared of that big stomping route. I was like, all
Right.
right, I'm not even gonna do this.
Yep, I did the same thing, and I kinda liked it. It was just since we'd never done it and it was new,
Hmm.
it was there's hesitation, I feel like. You're going into it like, "Wait, okay, so it's the left line over there. I can go around this way or I can go this way." It's kinda like the hesitation message, yep. It does seem like the people that were getting through that what do we call it? The second rock garden
Hmm.
and and rocks and roots, it seemed like they had more speed and they just knew when to hop or lighten up over certain sections or hop over certain sections. And that was one thing I was trying to talk about where I never really felt like I put the pieces together like for hopping and unweighting and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I felt like it was in my I felt like I was trying more than ever. Like I was conscious of trying to uh pump and hop and do more than maybe I've ever done
Yeah,
before. I don't think it really moves the needle a whole lot for me in my results, but I do think I'm becoming more aware of it or like to at least consider it more. Um,
right.
but yeah,
Well, you're talking just overall general, like
yeah.
on the I was trying to get to a place where like this section, like I'd never had it in my mind, like this section, I'm pushing through here. I'm gonna hop off of this rock to clear those two roots, and
Mhm.
then go to the inside to push for the inside corner that's getting built up. Like each section, it would be so cool if you could dial in like that. And I feel like Nick, my friend Nico, he he's pretty savvy like that. Like the second run, he knew the whole thing, and he was starting to put those pieces together.
Yeah, I think one of the things, like if I were to just be really transparent about this weekend, I think one of the things that I kind of like a conclusion I came to is like I might actually not be a racer. Like
Go on, go on.
I was just like, you know,
But you're yeah,
like I enjoy it and like I feel like I always feel like I'm getting a little bit better. Like I was looking at
yeah,
like some of the roots and rains photos today and I was like looking at like my results and like the percentages and like it's like little marginal increases every race,
yeah,
but then, just being around like Jerry, being around like you, just others, especially like Steven, it's like, man, I got a long road to go on like I think I'm so focused at this point on like not getting hurt. Um,
yeah,
trying to just have I'm trying to get better at my just general riding posture, like
yeah,
my balance, my riding position, my mobility, my ability to corner, my ability to like, pick up speed. But like, and those, I feel like those things are like, those are much more just foundational things. And so I'm not really like a racer yet, I guess is like the best
right,
way I know how to say it. I'm just like trying to become a better rider at this point.
right.
So I may not be I may actually, here 4 or 5 years into this, I may actually not even be a racer yet. I may be just trying to be a good rider.
Right. Well, you know what they say. You don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
I think you're learning. And I think I was going over that too in my head this weekend. Like, pro- learning isn't pro- like a linear progression. Like, you're going to learn this much every race or this every week. And yeah, it just seems like it's not happening. You're not learning. Then you make another little step. And yeah, I don't know. It's hard to figure out how to be a racer.
Yeah. And I know that's maybe kind of like a weird thing to say, but like, I'm excited about riding. I'm excited about going to the racers or to the races. Um,
Yeah.
every race, I'm like, it's really like surprising. Like you get done with these races and you realize, like, oh, I from like the last race, I felt really good. I felt like I'd grown, I'd learned something. But then, like the next one, I'm like, I didn't. How did I not know this? How did you know?
Right.
How did I continue to learn even more? And so, I feel like maybe that's what I'm trying to say is like I don't know if I'm gonna worry about racing as
Mm-hmm.
or that mentality. I'm just gonna really try to work on becoming a better rider. And that will probably help move the needle a little bit with the racing. And the racing forces me to do that. But like, you know, yeah,
Right.
so I don't know if that makes sense. But
No, I'm big in a believer in, like, if you got the right body position, that also is saying like you have the right balance,
mhm.
I think, and strength, and trying to figure that out is super hard.
Well, one thing that was really helped or changed for me this weekend is um I haven't actually been able to move my body correctly for since I hurt my foot. So my back has been so seized up that like it really hurt to even like reach down and touch my toes, and I could not actually move on the bike over the last couple of months. And so I got that fixed. Went to a chiropractor, and so like when we were like you and I, we did a bunch of fast runs over on the other side of the hill, just having fun.
Yeah.
Steven and I kept doing the Ninja Bob Trail, and like my jumping progressed a lot this weekend. I kept
Oh,
going back over and over, and I think a lot of that had to do with my back getting unlocked and being able to actually move and not being so stiff. I think all season this year I've just been so stiff on the bike because I just physically could not move. And I think I think that unlocked some things for me. Like what I learned was I was just really fighting some physical stuff that I think was causing me to not be able to corner well, causing me to be, not be just timid on certain things. So
yeah. Yeah, I know. I think you picked up on your jump skills too. But and I think, man, there's nothing beats like 3 consecutive days of just riding
yeah.
with all the people around, the racers and your friends, and just you're just focused on riding for those 3 days. It's awesome.
Yeah. So some of the funny things that happened this weekend. So um you know, when we were at the restaurant, and I didn't even know you were coming over to the restaurant when Jerry and I were there, and there was this whole ordeal about
Right.
we moved from one table to another. And so when you sat down, I thought for sure they were gonna like have a fit, but the whole channel
Right.
lock falling on the floor. These are channel locks. And then several times, I think it was Jerry was like, "Oh, so Steve, what do you do for a living?" And you're like, "Nothing." And Jerry was just like, "Nothing? What do you mean nothing?"
Yeah, he wasn't having that answer, was he? But the channel locks was interesting. I normally don't carry channel locks to dinner with me.
Yeah, it's just like but whenever I saw those channel locks, my teeth hurt. Like all I could think about was like maybe you're gonna try to pull somebody's teeth or something with the channel locks.
Yeah, no, I thought we were gonna go to the pits after that, and I needed that for to get this rock out of got wedged in between the suspension.
Yeah. No, well, let's talk about the pits a little bit. Like you kind of picked up on it. Like I got overwhelmed, and I was kind of processing that today. And I think one of the things for me is I'm kind of like primarily responsible for Steven's bike at these races, and
Yeah,
I'd say it's not so much because he's not capable of working on the bike, but I think we're very different in terms of I'm a little bit OCD, I'm a little bit of a perfectionist, and he's a little bit more like how quickly can I go ride? And so I'm always trying to kind of force him to let me help him. And I find his bike oftentimes in a state where it almost can't be ridden. And he's gonna have a race. So I take that on a lot at each one of the
yeah,
races. And then we have some newer people that are racing. And then, there's lots of needs or other issues that are going on. And I realize like part of my stress relief at going into these races is probably channeled into like tinkering on my bike. And so um I think that kind of caught up with me this weekend where it was like a little bit
yeah,
too much, too many things going on. And then I didn't get my kind of like personal time, which I don't necessarily think that there was anything massively wrong with my bike or needed to be done, but I think that's how I let stress off is by like cleaning,
yeah,
tinkering or something with my bike.
yeah. No, you got the pits down there, and you got all the stuff down there, so you got pretty busy.
Yeah. Well,
We were all coming there to get help from you. There's like three of us waiting for you to help
well,
us with our bikes,
and then like, and
and I
and
think you handled it pretty well,
and on the one hand, it's like
especially since we're all getting.
I think I lost you there. Just still, can you
Uh,
still well,
you're
on the
back,
one hand, so like 2 years ago, um, I could barely work on my bike. Like I didn't really have any real mechanical skills on the bike, and I went to work in a bike shop, just
all right.
just to learn how to work on bikes. And it is a great joy of mine. Like I love like if I have friends or somebody that needs work on their bike, like if they want to come over and we like the night before I left, there was a lady down the road who was going on a big bike packing trip and she needed some work done on her bike. And like I just love that I can do that. I love being able to serve people in that. And so it made me think about maybe putting a list out there. I think everybody probably needs to have like, their own little kit of like, you know, some rags, a shock pump, some chain
Yeah,
lube, a set of Allens. There's just a
yeah,
few basic little things. And like, I want to go back, especially like to our little Epic Bikes team and be like, hey, regardless of like if I have a pit and I set up the pit, like everybody should probably have their own little personal stuff to be able to do the light duty stuff on your bike.
yeah, yeah. Bolt checks, lube the chain, check the tire pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Like I
for sure.
think like I either that or I'm gonna just get like a duplicate of a couple of those basic things and I'm just gonna set that off like to the side. Like, okay, this is the
Right.
grain stuff. Like go hog wild, but then like
Yeah.
this little OCD corner over here, like I need this stuff like just like this.
I think I got the answer for you. I think the problem was everyone was there hoping you're going to help them with their bike, but your bike still hadn't been like checked
Mhm.
and tire pressure and bolt check and all that. I feel like if you would have done that first and just told everybody to hold on a sec, then you would have felt a lot better about helping everyone else out.
Yeah, that's true. I did I didn't realize it till afterwards that I took my bike out of the stand for somebody else's bike, and I wasn't done with my bike, and then
Right.
I kinda ran out of time, and so I think there's probably I think I think I'm probably headed in this direction, okay, in terms of the pits. One, like a general recommendation, especially everybody on the Epic team, it's like, "Hey, you all should, like, go to Walmart, buy yourself a little bag of shop towels, some chain lube, have your own shock pump, have your own tire gauge, or I'll have just some universal stuff, probably 2 stands, and I probably just for myself will kinda get my own little personal stuff where it's like, "Hey, this is I need this organized the right way." And then I'll just bring a little whiteboard or something or a sheet of paper and be like, "Hey, if you know there's stuff that you need done on your bike, just put it on the list." And I'm willing to
Mhm.
help do that once I've kinda gotten through all the things I need to do.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Unless I'm not racing. Or if
Right.
the other thing was I thought about, maybe if more people started to race within our group, maybe it would also be becoming an opportunity. Maybe there's somebody who doesn't race if they want to come and just
Y
fill that role.
yeah. Yeah, that'd be great.
Um,
I don't know crap about mechanics, so I should probably go find a job at a bike shop and learn some stuff.
it used to stress me out so bad because I couldn't fix like I didn't like to rely on somebody else, and I felt kind of bad, like, asking somebody else to help me that, like, I would really get stressed out in these situations in the first couple of years where I didn't even know how to bleed my brakes, and so, I mean, I've built this war chest now of, like, every possible thing I could could need, and then, yeah, I had to go work for a year in a bike shop. After work, I would go work in the bike shop and
Yeah.
learn a lot of those basic skills. I mean, I still don't know a lot, but I know enough,
Right.
so
Right. Yeah. Well, if you didn't know all of it, you wouldn't have to work on that people's bikes.
well,
That's my philosophy anyway.
in the stuff that I know how to do, um, that I guess that's the last thing I'd say is there's also I have like there's plenty of things I don't know how to do, and so it also kinda makes me anxious, like, I don't wanna get over my head, especially in a race situation where it's like, "Hey,
Oh,
I can't."
no way. That you pit next to Jack.
Yeah, he's like the master mechanic, like,
Yeah.
you got, like, the low
You're
end
like the
set up.
oil change place, and he's like the mechanic, BMW mechanic.
Yeah, bike room, man, I mean, he literally is doing it, he's for hire, at those races for bigger mechanical stuff.
Yeah.
One thing I will say that really impressed me about, Jerry this weekend is, like, when I was dealing with Steven's mud tires, man, I mean, Jerry just like he had his own tools there. He just like he didn't even say anything. He just like literally like started like in sequence with me, pitching in and doing stuff, and I really appreciated that he, he didn't ask, he didn't say a word. He just like knew that I needed help and just like just jumped in there. So
Yeah. He's probably a pretty good bike mechanic.
yeah, yeah, he's a really good bike mechanic.
Yeah. He showed me a picture of his garage, and it was just littered with bikes.
But he only brings one. I've only seen one bike ever
Yeah.
of his.
I know. Yeah. And I don't think he has, oh, he does have an e-bike, doesn't he?
Yeah, he has an e-bike. I'm sure he has lots of bikes. I think but he's very specific about certain like you don't see many things change about his bike. It's not that I think things break and whatnot, but I think he has really dialed in what he likes, and he's very
Right.
specific about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah, he definitely has. Oh, and I'm impressed with Jerry, how he has an e-bike, but he still rides his regular bike and road bike and gets all these miles in. Where
mhm.
I got an e-bike and there's no between the e-bike canoe going to Canuga and going to Ride Rock Creek with the shuttle runs, there's no way I'm pedaling my bike somewhere. I'll
Yeah.
just go e-bike or I'll go downhill shuttle park.
You said that you did some working out this time between the two races. I know that was one thing we were talking about. I leaned heavily on having to do gym work and things like that because I have less, bigger riding opportunities. What kind of gym work did you do?
Just weights. I didn't nothing like too high intensity, but trying to do some heavy weights. John goes with me and his son Christian, and we just leg day. We have like we don't do much. I don't think we do much. We do like 3 exercises for legs, and then we're done. And then the next day, maybe we'll do 3 back exercises, and we're done. Like tomorrow, we're gonna meet. I think we're gonna do a little chest, and then we're gonna go ride Canuga right after.
Could you tell any difference in this race and like the number of days we were riding, if that helped at all?
Man, I remember my legs being pretty fried.
Hmm.
I need more riding time.
Yeah.
Yeah, just to get used to those all day riding events.
That's
I
one thing I feel like the my hands, my arms, I feel like physically I'm probably in the best shape I've been in years. I think the bike skills are where I have to work on, but I do think the gym work has helped with the physical part a lot.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I didn't like the last race we did was a minute ago, I felt.
Hmm.
And man, these weekends are so epic, but I feel like you got to build your endurance for them. So racing more often, I think would help, but it didn't seem like I wasn't able to make it to a couple of the ones in between this and the next one.
Yeah, I've been doing this thing where I go to the pump track and I do five 4 minute intervals of straight where I go on the pump track and I just for 4 minutes I put my timer on my phone and I just do it for 4 minutes. I'm exhausted by like 3 minutes. Going around, pumping, going
Right.
around. Do
Yeah,
that
that
5 times.
sounds like a lot. I
Yeah.
wonder if is that building you up? Or how close did you do it to the race?
I probably did it like 4 times between the two races where,
Oh, all
once
right.
a week I would, once or twice a week. I want to do it more. And then I also think, your point about having more skills time.
Mhm.
Definitely got I did some coaching this time before the race and I've got some skill drills. All right,
Hiatus.
we took a little break. Um, a little water break. So we'll kind of turn the corner here. So did you end up wearing goggles during the race? So for everybody who didn't watch any of the videos or learn anything about what happened this weekend, perfectly dry, so beautiful, epic weather, and then Sunday it pours. Um, did you wear goggles at practice in the race?
I Yeah, yeah. I got a whole little rain prep little thing. I usually bring 2 goggles and some tear offs and 2 sets of gloves for sure
Hmm.
and two shoes, and I'm pretty set with that. And then some tear offs, hopefully.
I've been carrying around tear-offs for years now, and I've probably used 2 of them.
Right, right. Well, if you have one pair of goggles and you got practice in the mud and then the race, there. I mean, it'd be really nice to have.
Yeah, I used to wear the 510 Kestrels, and I have a few pairs of those shoes, and so I usually would bring, like, an extra set of shoes. I've been running this one particular, Troy Lee glove now, and I had a couple of pairs of them. I've run out of them. I'm down to one pair, but I would have liked to have had a fresh pair of gloves.
You know,
I have a light jacket. I actually threw it in the trash after the race because I ripped the arms were ripped up in the seams. But yeah, I think that's smart. Like being able to have a fresh pair of shoes and gloves. I don't manage my goggles very well. I see Jerry like he's like guarding them like they're gold. He'll have them like in a bag and like everything. And I'm just like I'm
yeah.
licking mine I literally was licking my goggles going up the lift. These two kids were looking at me because I'm going,
Yeah, I beefed up my goggle prep. I carry a little, you know, the a case that it comes in usually, that soft case.
yeah,
I usually throw that in my pocket, and like if we're on the lift chair, if we're heading up, I'll whip it out and clean lenses.
yeah. I definitely need to be more intentional with that. I actually didn't wear goggles for the race.
Oh, you didn't? How'd
No,
it go?
perfect.
I mean, were you getting stuff in your eyes, mud in your eyes?
None, none. Wasn't going,
Really?
wasn't going fast enough to get anything in my eyes.
All right.
I wasn't going fast enough. No,
I mean, I didn't have tear offs or anything. I just went with it, and it was
I,
okay. Wasn't too bad.
I had 50 tear offs ready to be used. A whole pack of them.
That's right. Did you do any race prep, warm up type stuff?
No, but I did think about it. Um, that's one thing I'm really struggling with. Like there's a part of me that wants to, as quickly as I could get my skills up. I hope within a year I would like to move up to Cat 1,
Mm.
so that the race times from practice would be a lot shorter. I love the idea of getting to do the seating run, which is like a practice race of sorts. I feel like we're just so late in the day. By the time we get up early and you do this couple of practice runs, and then there was like 3.5 hours before we raced.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you warm up? What have you learned about that?
Well, I don't. I haven't gotten into any of that yet. Um, and I don't mind the 3 hour wait. What I do love that Cat One has the seating, and I love it because it's like in like it's hard to push yourself, but if you're racing, then you push yourself, and then you get used to like that speed. So I feel like that seating run is super valuable to get up to speed and get used to that speed.
Hmm.
And, but for warm up, I don't know. The other race, I did some burpees right before I went down. I thought that kind of helped.
Yeah. I will say up until this is probably the first weekend, like I feel like I've just been kind of managing my mobility. So I don't didn't tend to try to do a lot of warm-ups because my back would be,
Yeah.
it actually just kind of hurt to try to do anything. But I see all these kids on, not kids, but other people on turbo trainers up at the top. Like I feel like I don't know. You think that something that would help us, or should we be thinking about that?
Man, I guess it would. That's what everyone does. I don't think that's realistic though
Yeah,
for for us. So yeah, what would like? I mean, jumping jacks would probably be similar, right?
yeah. I've wondered if the only way I could justify like one of the cheaper ones would be like maybe it would help Steven, and then I could jump on it
Oh
afterwards. Or
yeah, but would you have it at the pits or would you bring it up there?
I feel like Snowshoe is one of the only unique places where you actually start at the gate. Like I love that part about Snowshoe.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, it was a beautiful venue, epic scenery there.
Yeah, you really like the sunsets. I know you were intentional, like to park like somewhere where you could get the gun
Yeah.
sunsets. I
Yeah.
I always get up early when I'm at Snowshoe and I go to, like take pictures of like the sun coming up.
Oh, nice. Nice. Yeah. It's one of the most beautiful sunsets I've ever seen overlooking those mountains.
I love that place. I mean, I've been fortunate to go um, to like Whistler, and I feel like it to me, I call Snowshoe like it's like the mini Whistler. It's like the dirt, the views. I mean, I know it's not as expansive, but it just has a similar like kind of moistness and the way the dirt is and um
Mini Whistler.
yeah. Um
Nice.
let's see what else is there to kind of wrap up here and talk about. So um you did more weight training. We
Yeah.
definitely want to start moving this conversation into what do we learn into other people as we move forward here. Um, we, yeah, race prep for rainy days. I feel like I do a good job with equipment and tires and the pit, but I think I need to do a better job with my own with the rain stuff. But the weird thing is though, I had mud wheel set up all last year, used the rear tire once. It doesn't actually I mean, how many times have we actually raced in the rain that you can think of?
That's yeah. I just thought of that. Well, this year, TTC was the first one, right? And that poured.
Yeah.
That definitely went by. And then Massanutten was the next one. And we had Saturday morning was super wet, and then it was drying for the race. But I remember Saturday morning, and then this race. So three out of three.
Yeah, I call it downpour southeast. It seems like it's it's all it's always gonna rain. So it's not if,
Yeah,
but when is it gonna
yeah.
rain? Yeah, I
Well,
think
that's the beauty of it, right? Because it's the mini Europe.
yeah.
You know, you get your rain practice
Um, all right. So what are you gonna do between now and the next race?
between now and next race. Race more in between now and the next race. The next race, I think, is 3 weekends from now.
Yeah, let's see. It's today's the
Yeah.
4th. So we got yeah, we got 1, 2, 3 weekends. And the race, so Winrock's gonna have their race league. Is it on Father's Day Sunday? Is it on Sundays or Saturdays?
I don't remember, but I think it's 2 weeks from now. But I think I'll definitely do that.
Okay.
And that's really the only one. I was going to do the enduro at Rock Creek, but it just didn't work out.
Do you have plans to do more enduros? Like, do you feel like that's something that you're gonna incorporate more of?
Um, yeah, I am definitely. I just because if there's no downhill race, I would love to go race an enduro
Yeah.
just for just for the push and the practice and learning, man. You only get one practice run on each course, so that's definitely going to teach you how to learn stuff quicker, I think.
Yeah. Um, sounds like we might be going to Windrock this weekend.
Yeah.
And then when are you planning to come in early at all for the race? You're gonna come in right for the race? What are you thinking there?
Um, I think it would depend on this little cabin. I'm trying to get it finished. So if it just happens to be a good work, a week to work, then I'll probably go last minute. If not, I'll definitely try and get there as many days as I can before the race.
Yeah. It's kind of
Yeah.
what do you think about the new Windrock schedule or now they're closed on Tuesdays and Wednesdays?
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, now they have so they're closed Tuesdays and Wednesdays now.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Um Okay. Well, hopefully I'll see you this weekend then at Winrock.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be awesome if you could make it up.
And yeah, so we'll post this to Spotify. I'm trying to figure out the whole Apple podcast thing, try to start posting the last couple of episodes on there as well if people prefer to do that. And then I'll probably post this up on YouTube as usual. And
All
I
right.
think it would be helpful, if anybody is actually listening to this or watching this, which we seem to have a few that seem to be interested. I think we're at the point where suggestions and thoughts and ideas, I think that'd be
Sure.
good.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. More racing, more race content.
Yeah, more racing. And I'm pretty much open to anything at this point. Like I would do steroids, I would do like, I would cheat, I would
Blood transfer.
I would modify my bike in any way that I would get new legs, whatever it takes, man. That's what I've learned. Nah.
Yeah.
Well, great seeing you this weekend, great results. And yeah, well, I think we learned a lot as usual and look forward to
Mhm.
that.
Yeah, very cool, man.
Mud tires. See you.
My time.
Hey, hey, wait. One last thing. How did my used brake pads work out for you?
Oh man, really good actually.
That's funny. I was like, the
Yeah.
the interesting thing is like, did I really even need to change those out? I took those out. They
I
seem,
don't know, but I'm glad you did because mine were pretty toast.
I know when you were like, you think these will be okay? I was like, no, it's just there's no pads left. It's just metal.
And then luckily you had an extra used pair that was really good.
Yeah.
If you have more used pairs, bring them this weekend. I might
You
need
know,
them.
so I don't know what to think about this comment that I'm about to make, but I keep all my old brake pads. I have a Ziploc bag full of them.
Oh, well, I don't know what to say about that. I mean,
Yeah.
it's all
I don't
good.
either. I don't know what to say about that either. I don't really know what that means. Um,
I'm I'd like to know if that's a thing amongst riders or if that's just a unique trait that you have.
yeah, I don't think that's I don't think anybody in their right mind would do some of the things that I've done. But I think it's one of those things where it's like, I don't know, maybe this will help.
Well, do you have other things you'd like to tell us that you
I don't throw away chains. Um,
Ooh,
I have lots of used cassettes. I have gotten better about throwing away tires when they've gone too far, but like I don't know. I think maybe like maybe how people have said like, oh, they must have lived through the depression. Um
yeah,
so maybe like going through the COVID bike years, where you
Mike.
couldn't get a chain, you couldn't get. I remember waiting 6 months to get XTR brake pads. Um,
Oh,
and
crazy.
so maybe there's just a part of me that like, once we did start racing again with COVID and there was so things were so limited, I just started not throwing away. I mean, I throw some stuff away, obviously, but
Yeah,
like I got a box of grips that are still could be used, but I feel like for me personally, like I noticed like with your bike, you're much more open to things not being perfect. And like I feel like that's where I channel my nervousness. So it's like I can't control there's certain things I can't control. Well, what I can control is like I can make this like perfect, you know? I'm not
right.
saying
Yeah,
that's right. I'm just saying like
right.
I feel like that is something I do know that that's just something about me. It's like, okay, maybe I can't control all this other stuff, but I can sit here and clean this bike and I can make it,
Yeah, and I can save the brake pads.
and save the brake pad. I got on your bike, your front brake like literally didn't even work. I was like, that's how it goes so fast. Like his front brake doesn't even work. He doesn't need this front brake.
I thought it was I was asking if we could do a brake bleed because that's what I thought it was, and then you looked at the pads and you're like, no, I think you just need some new pads.
Yeah. You know, yeah. You don't need new blood, you need a new heart.
Yeah.
All right, buddy. Well, always a pleasure, man. And
Yeah.
look forward to seeing you in the next one.
Yeah. All right, bud.
See
Late.
you, man. Bye.